Hello and welcome to TTM Dark on YouTube. We're joined by Michael Gard. Michael, last time you were with us, you told us about your experiences with alien abduction, with the UFO community in general. So what we've decided to do is to bring you into the TTM Tavern on TTM Dark to really go through some more of that and so people can see you and to really talk about that story in more depth. Really, from me, how are you?
I'm okay, thanks.
Fantastic. And James?
Yeah, Michael, it's an absolute pleasure to meet you. From the first time I heard the previous podcast with the guys, I was desperate to be around when James always told me, we're going to get him back. We're going to get him back.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's a pleasure to be here with you, Michael. Can't wait to hear what you've got for us.
So we've obviously, for those that don't know, Michael was here last time, and as I mentioned a minute ago, we went through your abductions, your experiences with aliens, and I think really the best thing to do for our audience tonight is to really start to kick off about, you know, what happened last time. And James, do you want to take us away and into the rabbit hole?
Yeah, so Michael, obviously from the previous podcast, but for those that don't know, you were involved in Quest magazine.
Yes.
Involved with the UFO stuff in that magazine, heavily contributing to the magazine with stories from your own account, but also from other people. So that was your sort of first forays into UFO hunting and an interest in it. Talk us through just a little bit about how that came to be, what the real levels were at that time, and what that was like.
It came to be from an advertisement in the Sun newspaper from Tony Dodd in Yorkshire for Quest magazine, saying, would anybody like to create a group or a team in their city? So I got my friend to contact him, and he said, yeah, that's fine, you can set up a team in Bristol and call it Bristol Quest. So that's what we did, and I don't think any other city in England arose to the challenge.
Yeah,
I think Bristol Quest was the only one.
Well, I mean, Quest magazine were known throughout the world. They were probably one of the very first publications, weren't they?
They were the top, I would have thought, the top magazine at that time.
So for you, that's a real coup, because obviously you're bringing Quest not only to the UK, but also to Bristol and locally as well. So you were like a sub-arm of as it were, of Quest magazine.
Yeah.
Can you remember the times at Quest? What was it like at Quest magazine for yourself, seeing everything?
It was chaotic and very addictive.
Yeah.
Meeting new people and meeting people that are on the same sort of level and wanting to investigate and find out answers for themselves, really. And I was searching for answers, and I found more than I bargained for.
So at this point, Michael, had you actually had any experiences with UFOs personally, or was it just an interest of yours at the time? When you first started getting involved with Quest, was it because you'd had an experience and wanted to know more, or was it because you had the interest and you wanted to be around other like-minded people? Bear in mind, this is pre-internet. Yeah,
it was the interest. I mean, I think I first started in 1978 when I used to buy a thing called The Unexplained magazine.
Okay.
It was on UFOs and the Billy Meyer sort of stuff and psychics and human combustion and all that stuff. And it was absolutely fascinating. And I've always had a sort of connection with science fiction and spaceships. And reading these magazines really just fueled it. But I think it was at a certain time, the Quest happened at a certain time, and it was there. And like I said, for more like-minded people, it was an experience.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, first off, it's not an easy thing to talk about either. Do you know what I mean? Because experiences with any sort of, you know, an extraterrestrial would no doubt play in your mind and your psyche forever. I mean, if I ever saw anything, you know, it would really frighten me to the core. It would be exciting, but frightening, for instance. So, I mean, you're at Quest at the moment. So the story then picks up. It was around, I think, in the last podcast, you stated that you were with Quest. You got a group of guys together locally in the local paper.
Yeah, in the local paper, and we had a number to phone up,
Like a hotline.
Yeah, and it was like the X-Files, but not so so government orientated sort of thing. But it was. They phone up and we go and investigate, and we have some proper whack jobs.
Really? Any like examples of anything silly that come through the hotline?
We had one guy who claims that he was, well, this is when in 1987, claims that he was being abducted and they were going to eat him and stuff. All right? But at that time, I was like, what the hell? You know, we went there, and I was getting pretty nervous, actually. It's like, this guy was coming out with stuff. But then you go and look at other stuff, and you think, oh, he described a ship that was like a huge dumbbell, and the reptilians have that same sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So now I look back, I think he was telling the truth. Then it was like, wow, you know.
Yeah, I think
so. Would you have all So how did it work then? So let's say, for example, I saw a dumbbell shaped craft, or what I believe to be in my back garden.
Yeah.
I would call this hotline.
Yeah,
and then you guys would all roll around in a van?
Yeah,
or?
well,
it's like Ghostbusters, isn't it?
Yeah. We had Quest Recon, which was on bikes,
right?
And we were around on bikes, and there's some people had cars, and you know, but this was all before the internet and stuff, and before mobile phones.
Yeah.
You know, so they couldn't. I don't think people could take many pictures because there weren't a lot of cameras.
You didn't have your camera phones like you have now.
So you were really relying as well, though. I mean, as I said before, it's to filter through the shit. You're going to get people ringing you up, telling you, you know, there's something in the sky above my house. I can't believe it. Come quick. And you get there and you go, yeah, it's you know, what you seen was a military helicopter. You know, what are you playing at? Stop wasting my time.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you know, you would have had a couple of things that come through and you thought, oh, my God.
Yeah. And we would filter through stuff, and we would send what we thought was original, compatible sort of stuff to Quest, rather than sending them crap whack job sort of stuff. You know, we sent them the best. Yeah. And like I said, it and then it fueled the magazine, and the magazine was doing cattle mutilations at the time, and that was like frightening. And it's like, wow, you know. Yeah,
in America especially, the cattle mutilations are huge, and in terms of things, farmers coming in the morning out into the fields to see their cattle were not just dismembered, not just, it was like not vaporization, but the carcass was there, yet no blood. So how on earth would that happen? Just picture that, James. Right, you're a farmer, you've come down to the field, you know, you're missing a couple of sheep. You've gone down, you just see a little bit of wool and bones, everything gone, all the inside's gone, everything's gone, but with no trace.
Yeah, I mean, this is
it's like Jack the Ripper 2.0.
It's when you enter into the realms of the unexplained, isn't it? You know, these things, you could see a dead sheep and, you know, it's clearly, okay, that's a fox attack or something like that. But it's when you enter into the realms of this cannot be explained with a logical explanation. That's when, I suppose, for guys like yourself, Michael, that's when, you know, your imagination is kicked into gear and you start to get invested in it and interested in it, you know? Yeah. I mean, this all takes us nicely onto you mentioning farmyard and land and everything else. So when things really started to accelerate for you really was the crop circles.
Yeah.
So talk to us about how firstly you became aware of the crop circles and then how it all escalated from there.
The Quest magazine done something on, I think it was Colin Andrews or somebody doing a thing about crop circles, and then we were told to go and investigate them and come up with stuff, and so we did. The ones at Silbury Hill and all around that area were, like I said, you could tell that real crop circles were flat and crisp and shiny, and it's made it by a tremendous force. And you go to other crop circles, they're tufty, they look like it's man-made. And so for me, as an investigator, I knew what was what, but other people just went, "Oh, there's a crop circle." I was like,
off the record, if I would have seen a crop circle, would I be able to tell the difference? No. But the reason why you could is because what you're saying is you were regularly around these things.
Yeah, because I've been in the crisp, shiny ones. And they haven't, sort of thing.
Yeah.
What's the official reason for crop circles? If you were to ask, I don't know, a professional in the farming agricultural community, how crop circles emerge, what's the official reason given?
They were man-made.
What, for decoration? Is that what? I don't know. I literally don't know.
Well, it was supposed to be done by two men.
Right.
But they can't be all over England. These first of these appeared.
Oh, what? So there were two men in the country that were going around and making these crop circles.
It's Chris and Colby's crop circles. You know, these guys were everywhere. No, I mean, look, we've all seen it. How to make a crop circle on YouTube, and it's sort of some sort of like handheld push down device. But first and most foremost, these cornfields that you see, the types of things that Steve was going to see, no doubt, are you have to walk half a mile into the field first. You can't get. You would make a trace.
You couldn't. A human couldn't make those things.
Exactly.
I've been in them.
Yeah.
You know? And we also had pictures of, with video camera then, and there's a picture of a black undulating form in the crop circle, and it was going around me. It was pinpointed me, and one of the people that was in the team, he's saying, "Why is it around you all the time?"
So what was that? So just to get it straight, so you're in a crop circle. What is a black pinpoint circle around you? What does that mean?
No, it's like a black. This was on the video afterwards. We couldn't see it. We couldn't see
editing.
it. We couldn't see it in real life.
Right.
But when we seen it, it was undulating around me like a black snaky caterpillar sort of thing.
So really, then,
have you ever on Lost? You know, have you ever seen Lost?
No.
Forget it.
No. But that was it. And there was also we experienced a shadow being on Silbury Hill.
How would you define a shadow being? A being that's a shadow, or
Well,
for those that don't know,
it was dark, and we took us 10 minutes to climb up Silbury Hill. All right.
Yeah.
And when we got to the top, me and my friend seen this dark figure, and he stood up, looked at me and my friend, and he walked down the side of the hill, like he was attached to the hill. And he walked down, and we were just like flabbergasted. And he walked down into the car park and walked along the road. And I thought, if I'd done that, we'd fall straight away down.
Oh, so these things are like defying gravity. There. I mean, on that figure, flabbergasted. Absolutely no idea what I would make of that. I don't even know where to start.
It's still baffling.
So this is all around it. So this is all around the same sort of time when you guys are investigating for Press Magazine.
Yes.
So for those people that don't know, Silbury Hill, Southwest England, area, agricultural area, rural area. We're talking out in the sticks, effectively, aren't we, Silbury Hill?
And Silbury Hill's a burial mound as well.
There we go.
And it's on ley lines, and that's why the circles were on ley lines, because ley lines are magnetic power. Okay. So that made me believe that what was causing the crop circles was also magnetic, and it only caused this impact.
I can see where you're going with it.
You put two magnets together, they go. Don't they?
Yeah, of course.
They attract.
Yeah.
So if you've got Earth's magnetic power and then something coming from outside the planet, a magnetic energy source.
Yeah.
And it hit the ley line.
And then that could explain the silvery sheen and the actual force of which these things are almost hydraulically pressed into place.
I've never seen anything. So it's like a skating rink, like ice. That's smooth and shiny.
Wow.
And then, like I said, you go into the other ones and it's look like a couple of anorexic midgets made it, you know?
Well, it was me and him.
Yeah. but you could tell. I mean, like I said before, I could tell. But other people were going, all the vortices and about the bending of the nose. It's like, dude, take a bigger stand out the box and take a look at these
So
things, you know.
So
Oh,
what
yeah.
you're saying is there was a clear difference in,
Yes.
in the quality, the
Yes.
pristineness,
Yes.
the efficiency of these crop circles.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so at this point you've then become, I would say at this point, we're talking 35 years ago.
Yeah.
Probably among the national experts on crop circles.
Yes.
Within that community.
Yes.
You would have been the go-to guy at this
Yeah.
time to
Yeah.
talk to about crop circles.
Yeah.
So from there, you made some discoveries on the crop
Yeah,
circles.
and observations
Some
as well.
observations,
Yeah.
some after some deep diving into crop circles, and that again, that sort of starts you on this path towards when you are first contacted by otherworldly beings.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, I discovered, instead of at that time everybody was going on about the vortices, what's causing them, and like I said, bits and pieces. And I thought, I just took an artist's view of things, and I looked at it, and I thought, this is something not right about this. Anyway, so like I went home and opened a magazine, a book, and in there is a Dogon tribesman, and he was in a cave, and on the back of the cave was the crop circles.
So what you've done is you've took the image of the crop circle, and obviously you've done your research and your due diligence. There's obviously a tribe, an ancient tribe of the world called the Dogon tribe,
Yeah.
And obviously you've gone to a Dogon tribe, let's say mound or ex haunt of the Dogon tribes, and you've gone in there and in the caves in the background, so you're seeing the crop circle pattern and shape.
Yeah, on the wall.
Up on the wall in the hieroglyphics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I looked at it and it said these are depictions of Saturn and Jupiter.
Right.
So then that made me think, hold on a minute, the crop circles that I've got written down, the ones I've been in, are planets, a star.
Yeah, absolutely.
Symbols for planets. I thought nobody's seeing this.
Yeah.
Nobody's reporting it. Nobody's seen this. So I wrote down all the ones that we've been in, and some of the ones that look like proper crop circles I've seen in books, and it formed the solar system.
Right. Okay. And this is through. Is this all on like one particular wall in a Dogon place that you saw, or did you go to like several?
No.
Different.
There was
Dogon
one
places?
cave, and it just had two symbols, Saturn and Jupiter.
Right.
And that's what led me to believe that the crop circles were star symbols.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I looked at the other ones, and there was a big, massive one with no other little ones. I thought that could be the sun. There was one with a circle with two satellites around it, and at that time that was Mars.
Yeah.
All right. And there was another one was a circle with a little.
Well,
circle.
the two satellites around Mars could be Phobos
Phobos and Deimos.
Yeah,
At the time,
Yeah.
that was all that was known.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's like millions of bloody
Because you
satellites
could look
now.
at it from two standpoints straight away. You know, for the people looking, you're going to have your for and you're going to have your against.
Yeah.
You could argue the shapes of the crop circles. You know, and you've correlated quite articulately. May I add that they correlate with the Dogon stuff. You could also, those people saying against, oh no, it's all rubbish. They're just going to correlate to anything. I could look at a cloud and it could resemble a finger. Do you see what I mean? However, there isn't a hieroglyphic cave from an ancient culture with a cloud finger. So do you see what I'm saying with that? So you've actually married them up.
Yeah, so there's with this sort of stuff, there's no smoke without fire.
Yeah.
You know what are the odds of those particular crop circles resembling something on the cave wall of the Dogon tribe,
or me being there at that time,
exactly.
to decipher them, or to
Yeah. I mean, Michael, as far as I'm concerned, you know, even if we ever got to a position, we're not going to go down that road of UFO investigative stuff. But if, for instance, we ever did and we were in a crop circle and we started to see correlations, did it worry you? Did you feel like I could have stumbled across something here? You know, were you worried about things, or did you just think this is unbelievable?
Yes, I did. I thought, oh my god, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to do anymore, but I was driven to do it, like an urge to do it. And then I found out that the crop circles were the solar system, and I wrote the solar system down. I wrote the names of the planets down the side, and I suddenly started taking letters from it, like that.
Yeah.
And they formed a message, and I thought this is spooky. And I got the message, and I stopped doing it. I thought I'll do it again, and the same stuff kept coming. So I didn't.
What was the message? I mean,
The message was there's.
you need to decipher the message as
Yeah,
well. Which
it was one. The first one is return.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Second one was Elohim.
Yeah.
All right. Third one was Jesus. And Atlantis. Return of Atlantis.
I remember you mentioning this in the podcast before. Now, I'm going to throw it out there. If you were lying, you've got one hell of a bloody good memory. That's what I'll say. So first of all, it's quite clear that for you to say that. And I remember we looked up the word Elohim, and Elohim stood for God. It stood for
God or gods.
Exactly. So that message there, you're saying return potentially of the God or gods with Jesus, Atlantis. Atlantis, obviously the lost city, the lost ancient civilization, which had electricity thousands of years before it was invented again.
But now, they discovered stuff at the South Pole.
Right.
Okay? And that is a major creative base for Atlantis.
Right.
And they also found giants and the fallen ones who were frozen there in status.
Really?
Yeah. So that's Elohim, the gods, the fallen ones. All right?
So they were taken there maybe thousands of years ago down to there to preserve them, or Atlantis was just based there.
Yeah, Atlantis was one of the creative bases.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So, and they're supposed to. They had a war with God or gods or whatever, and he punished them and kept them there. All right.
Yeah.
So 35 years ago, Return of Atlantis, the Return of Elohim, has come true, because now the South Pole is being dubbed as Atlantis, and Elohim.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I mean, that's something, for the South Pole. I mean, off record, outside of the podcast, that's something that we'll need to have a look at. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm sure there's stuff there. What they did see down in Antarctica, may I add, I saw a lovely podcast on Joe Rogan, and he had Graham Hancock on there, who was from Bath, not far away from us here, actually. And he was talking about under the oceans, they've got these perfect slabs, pristinely cut slabs that could not have been placed there. Again, it's another pyramid situation that could not have been placed there. They would have to be placed there artificially, i.e. man, or by gods, or by extraterrestrials, and that was in that area. So I can see there's a lot of correlations.
Yeah, so we on one of the last podcasts we did, we spoke a lot about the correlation between religion and extraterrestrial, otherworldly things. Do you think that there's a connection between extraterrestrials, and religion?
Yes. You've got to remember, religion was based around extraterrestrials.
It's all based around the star signs, isn't it?
Yeah, but you got to remember, years ago, the humans would call extraterrestrials angels. Okay, but now we call them aliens.
Yeah,
you see,
I see it 100. I see that 100%. I'll agree with that. I'll state I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to have been alive 3,000 years ago in who knows where, Babylon or whatever, pick a place,
Lalibela,
and you were suddenly encountered extraterrestrial UFO, technology that was light years ahead of what you knew, or you could even possibly conceive. To you, that would be a godly figure. It was like we were talking about before, about the undiscovered tribe of South America, and in World War II, War II plane landed and that's the
same scenario.
It's the same concept. Scenario, yeah, exactly.
So for the listeners, very, very quickly, Michael, I'll come back to you. So what we're saying there is in World War II, in South America, on top of a hilltop, a World War II airman was lost, US pilot, wasn't he? As he was going across South America, he saw what he described from the air as a runway, obviously overgrown, covered in bushes, shrubbery, you name it, but he could see it. And we've seen it on Discovery Channel, we've seen it on National Geographic, these Mayan cultures, these pyramids. He's gone in, he's landed on it, the local tribe have come out, and this guy is now remembered as a god.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
because the technology and everything else is so much more than they can comprehend or they've ever imagined
Incredible.
or seen before.
Yeah.
And it's like that. Yeah,
That's the same thing that happened years ago. They classed aliens as angels, extraterrestrials as gods, and some of them reveled in it.
Yeah.
Do you understand that? If you were suddenly like had women and
Look, if I was a
gifts
single
and stuff,
man
you
and
know?
I had downed a plane down there, one of them tribes, and they were saying, James,
Yeah.
you're God, you are the main man.
Yeah, have some,
I
like-
would be like,
exactly.
Some of that
okay,
shit, yeah.
I've arrived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
yeah, and
Never going to happen.
and in the past, some of them played the God game, the God's game. You know,
God complex.
yeah, the God complex.
Wow, there you go. A new term for the pod, the God complex.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying.
And if you ever see the film Stargate, that's the same.
Right.
You know, and
I've not seen it.
No, but I suggest you take a peek at it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
fair enough.
And,
Yeah.
and that's what I found with the crop circles when they deciphered the glyphs around the Stargate. That's how I felt because a couple of months before Stargate came out, the film, and I was thinking, oh my god, it's like this sort of thing, you know. So yeah, and you got to remember that God and gods is a human name. It was created by humans.
Yeah.
And religion was created by humans, and you know, sometimes I think, one of the concepts of or readings of Jesus, he said, you don't need religion, you don't need churches. The power of God is within you, sort of thing. I'm not being religious, no, but that was
I mean, I'm personally, I've always openly said I'm on the fence. I'm neither here nor there, and I think,
normally, I just found that
absolutely,
very interesting to go back to the old times, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that people created religion, you know. It's
Yeah.
a man-made thing.
No, absolutely. And again, the parallels between religion and extraterrestrials and contact from otherworldly things is always there. It is always there. But at this point you've become, a national go-to guy for anything UFO based, crop circles, extraterrestrial activity, the unexplained.
Yeah.
Certainly in the Southwest, nationally as well. This is when, let's get down to it, Michael. You had your first contact. Tell us about that. The first contact with an extraterrestrial or with anything outer worldly.
That was in Chew Valley. That was when I was taken by the Phoenix Lights.
So for the listeners, do you want to just go into that a bit for us?
Yeah, I had somebody infiltrate the team. He joined the team. He said this was after my crop circle report went into Quest magazine and went all around the world. And obviously the American CIA and government's seen it. Somebody was always there at the convention, so they must have picked up. Anyway, he said, you're going to see aliens, you're going to see a UFO. They're interested in the team, and they're also interested in what I've done with the crop circle message.
Who said this to you, sir?
This person who infiltrated the team.
So they've infiltrated the team as
He's just an investigator.
So where would they have been from? Where are they infiltrating you from?
It's I think the aliens or the government got in contact with him. He's connected. There's a thing called a hive,
Right.
okay,
Right.
and it's a draconian hive. It's called.
Okay.
And this bloke who said we're going to see UFOs and aliens and stuff, and we did. All right, I seen him years later. All right, and I said, "You're part of the draconian hive, aren't you?" He said, "Yes." How did you know? And I thought, "Geez, I just knew, you know." And it's the connection is between people walking in, normal people around. It's connected to the hive, which is connected to the government, which is connected to aliens. So there's a connection because I just like I'm saying to you, that's how I know there's a connection, because he infiltrated the team. We went to see aliens, and we got abducted. The team got abducted, and I got abducted. So it's all true.
So
Yeah.
he's almost, you feel like he's been sent to infiltrate your group.
and he did.
To lead you guys into a situation
It's a scenario, yeah.
Yeah. So for those people that don't know, obviously we're talking about southwest England here, Chew Valley, large lake in the middle of nowhere, huge body of water, man-made, I'd imagine.
I don't know.
Possibly, yeah.
Possibly a reservoir, but Chew Valley Lake, if you're local, you know. Large open space with a large lake where it's, it's a body of water basically.
Yeah.
Lots of fields around. So talk to us about, so obviously you've been lured to Chew Valley in some respects.
because he said we're going to see, because we're UFO investigators, or somebody says you're going to see a UFO and aliens, like, wow, you know.
Of course, yeah.
So we went there.
Gold dust really.
It is,
you guys, isn't it? It's the golden ticket.
So we went there and 2 hours went past, nothing happened. I don't know if I relayed on the last podcast, but I seen some lights, and I said, quick, get the camera going, and got the camera, was on his shoulders and ready to film, and it was a Hercules transport aircraft.
Right.
All right. That's another part of the connection. There's a military Hercules transport aircraft, went over first, and then afterwards we said, oh, like this guy, you're full of shit, basically.
Yeah.
And then they went to pack away the stuff, and I turned around and I seen the lights. I thought, that's it. I said, that's it. Get the camera going. The camera wouldn't work. All right.
Yeah.
And the V-shaped craft come so close. It was like in a field next from the road. There's the road and there's the field, and it stopped. It opened up into an elongated thing, and then we had missing time. And I didn't even know what was going on.
Well, you'll be frozen terrified, surely.
Yeah, and it was when you're saying missing time, it is missing time. You just click of a finger, and you're back where you were. The abduction could have took hours, but it would be like seconds.
Yeah.
You know. So anyway, he the team next day was, oh my god, I was abducted, and everybody was frightened. Fear gripped all of us. Yeah. Right. Some people tried to kill themselves. They didn't want it to happen again. Yeah. The team, and then that's when the team started to crumble. And the bloke who was infiltrating the team started saying that someone said this about you, and someone said this about you, and he was shit stirring basically.
He was trying to cause an implosion of the team.
Yeah, and it worked. And it worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
So just to go back to the actual abduction, obviously.
Yeah.
To the average man, woman on the street, you would expect, a flying saucer comes down, beam of light comes up.
No.
You get taken up into the craft. Exactly what happened?
It was, how can I say? It was out of body.
Right. Okay.
Abductions. Not physical.
Right.
They've done it out of body.
Like soul snatching.
Yeah. And I was, how can I explain? I got, a couple of days ago, I actually found a picture of one of the beings that abducted me. And it was found on a USB stick in a parking lot. And I seen some of the images, and I thought, that's them. You know, and
So you believe
I've never
they
seen,
might-
all these years, I've never seen anything like it. All I've seen is greys and reptilians, but not these beings. And I know I could vouch that USB stick, the pictures on there are real, because I was being abducted by the bastards, you know?
Can you remember? Yeah, and of course. And do you know what? First things first. One, it's 35 years ago.
Yeah.
Two, it's a massive emotional, mental, physical. We'll touch on other things later. An awful turbulent time for you. And, first and most foremost, we appreciate the fact that you're actually opening up and talking about it, because it's a tough subject to talk about.
Fear. I was frightened.
How old would you have been at this time, Michael?
35.
So you were 35.
you're our
No,
age.
hold on. No, 25.
Yeah, so even younger.
Yeah.
So sorry, I have to keep going back to it, Michael, because
No, it's okay.
I'm just trying to.
I'll tell you about it. I'll relate it.
I'm just trying to get my head around it. So you and the guys, you stood at Chew Valley Lake.
Yeah.
The craft comes.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the craft.
It was V-shaped, full of. I've never seen so many lights on anything. So many lights. It's made out of black metallic tubes, thousands of them, like I said, the Bird's Nest Stadium
In China.
In China,
Yeah.
that is what it looked like. but and there was you could see the intricate patterns, and inside you could see even more lights. You know,
like fiber optic.
yeah, something like that.
And you said on the last podcast, Michael, that you believe that this craft was living.
Living, yeah, it's made of bioalloys,
Right.
and it was living, yeah, a living entity.
So I mean, to look at the thing, anything that's living, I would associate it's breathing, it's moving, it's alive.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you're looking up, anything that's alive with lights in it. Well, first and most foremost, that's a match that probably isn't made in heaven. It's a match that's not quite, it shouldn't be compatible. However, if aliens, and to yourself, you're like, no, not if, the aliens have came here. The fact that they've had to travel from, I remember you saying last time it was like Sirius B star system, for instance. The fact that they've managed to travel here tells us that their technology is well in advance in anything that we can ever imagine. Now, if they're going to put together something that's electrical and living, it's these guys, isn't it? You know, it must be terrifying for you. Now, can you remember exactly the abduction, or I mean, wow.
Yeah, I can remember it. It was let's think back. Yeah, it was there were little reptilian beings, okay?
Yeah.
And there was also other ones. But there was no greys.
Yeah.
No greys, no Nordics, none of that Orion stuff.
Yeah.
And these beings with hoods, like hoods, and that's all I can remember. And then I was made to have sex with one of them.
Yeah, sure.
On
Okay,
the first encounter.
Yeah, the first encounter. And then they said to me, "Why is a being like you in this part of the universe?"
In English.
Yeah. And that still has got me stumped to this very day.
Yeah.
And they are actually frightened of me.
Yeah. Now, obviously with the sexual encounter, now, if that doesn't cause you, I would personally been caused emotional damage just by the very interaction with an extraterrestrial immediately. Yeah. Alone, a sexual encounter.
Yeah, and she said to me,
So it was female.
Come on, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
As if I was like experienced in it.
You're an intergalactic alien fucker. Yeah, that's crazy. It's mad, isn't it?
In terms of it being you were forced to have sex with one of them, was it? In what context was it? Was it like sort of like an experimental, like ritual, or was it more of like?
I think it was for spiritual DNA and out of body stuff.
Well, so was it? Would you go as far as saying that it was rape?
Partly, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was, but it was cold. I felt she was cold. All right, and it was nothing. There's nothing, no romantic or love in it, but
right.
it was just a sexual experience.
It's like there was a world famous abduction, and I'll put it in the comments below for everybody watching and anybody listening. It's very, very world famous, about a man who was brought up on a farm. Okay, you may have heard of this. He was brought up on a farm. He was mistreated by his parents. He flees the family nest. He plays a lot in the field on his own, and we're talking late teens, so he's into his adolescence. He's now, he's coming into his own. He's got a surge of testosterone through his young body. He's pumped. What he sees in the field as he sat down at a tree was a lady, what he perceived to be a lady, and this is a perfect embodiment of a lady. Now I'm talking size 10 to 12, yeah? Big breasts, natural, yeah? She has sex with him, okay? She leaves. What he then does is he regularly goes back to the tree because he's a young bloke. He's thinking to himself, oh Christ, this is incredible. I'm King Dong, man of the moment. He then embarks on a lifetime of sex with this alien being, okay, but to the touch and the feel, she was human. And obviously he leaves home, he goes to study in New York, and as I say, people can read into this as much as they like, but what happened was he was eventually taken by this woman. And when he went into the ship, the mothership, they took it to a processing room. He opened up the room, and there was thousands of children, to which she said were all his, because their rate of pregnancy was so far technically advanced in terms of time that, you know, they could have sex. Look, this isn't my words. This is, you know, taken loosely from the story. That basically he was having sex with this alien being that embodied a perfect woman every week, every other week, and providing, I would then say, you know, beings, so cross-hybrid human alien beings. Now, the fact that you have, and I'm not going to say it's making love, because clearly it wasn't.
No.
It was forced.
Cold, yeah.
You know, it's absolutely staggering. I mean, you know, it must have been absolutely terrifying for you. I mean, here's a difficult question. You know, the fact that you wouldn't necessarily be attracted to that being, do you think they had a potential, maybe a hold over you to, let's say, you know, how do I find the words to make you aroused? Because you can't genuinely state that you see this hooded figure that's terrifying you and become aroused. That's not humanly possible.
No.
However,
I think they might have done something to me to make me aroused. But talking about on the crafts with lots of children,
yes,
right, there are mass abductions been going on since the 80s, in 87, 90s. That there are mass abducting people, and people are being abducted and they don't know they're being abducted, and they're implanting people and turning them into drones. All right, so people around you, if you see them change at all, or they're very negative or very cold, that is part of the process. But they are abducting people, and they're changing people, and they've also got hybrids.
Well, that's what it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so they're creating a hybrid race in the past to take over this race.
It's absolutely mind-blowing. It you know, again, for you to come out with this takes a lot of courage. You know, the fact that you've had to live with it must be absolutely mad. You know, for people watching.
But there have been other abductions where sex is involved, but it's a plan to create the hybrids, either to take over or the humans serve them. But that's the sort of the plan.
Do you think it's like a power thing, like a control thing? You know, if you're a you know, a psychopath and you capture women, or you hold people, you kidnap people, having sex with them against their will is always deemed as a power thing, like a control
power
thing.
Trip.
You
No,
know,
I think
is it like
alongside
that?
being
Almost
absolutely
like,
barbaric.
Well, here you are, I've got you completely in fear. I can do whatever I want to you, and that, you know, just, you know, effectively sexually assault someone. That is the lowest of the low for degrading another being, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, do you think it was that could have been part of it?
I think it's for genetics as well. Once they got a part of you.
Yeah,
that's it.
Maybe a child. If I produced a child with them,
DNA.
Yeah. Once they got the child, they can do whatever. They can take as many samples of DNA from it, as they want. See, but the thing is, though, I've researched that this is the human race is an experiment, all right, and it's not been good. So with the hybrids, that's the next experiment, the fourth race. The next hybrids are going to be the fifth race. That's what I've worked out, and that's what other people have worked out as well.
They spoke about it on Joe Rogan, where they turn around and they said that I see what you're saying, that the conversation has been brought up into the realms of the podcasting and life in general, is where one theory is that they say alien beings came down to the earth, and at that time we were apes, because that's what we are. We are hairy mammals, just intelligent ones now with slightly smoother skin. But they planted with those, and that was the first experiment. And because you can't go,
it's all about experiments.
Exactly,
it's all about experiments. But one thing would be this: people say, scientists say that humans evolved from apes, but who created the apes?
Well, that's what they say is a process of evolution. You know, and
It's all,
you know,
it's all experiments. Once you've got the power of God, or a god, is DNA. That's the weapon. That's once you have the DNA, you're a creator. You can create whatever you want.
well, we've done it with animals, haven't we?
Yeah.
As a human race.
Yeah, but the scientists have got all that from doing a deal with the aliens. Everything we've got now is alien technology.
Well,
phones, TVs.
Yeah, the rate of progression over the past
Yeah.
century has been absolutely staggering. From the, you know, let's talk about the biggest invention of the past 3,000 years before this century, the wheel,
Yeah.
bread, sliced bread. You know, and now all of a sudden we don't just have electricity, we don't just have flying mobiles, we don't just have cars. We now have a device that sits in our pocket. This
Yeah.
conversation that we're having here tonight, if I really wanted to, I could have in Singapore within the next 70 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. It's all alien technology.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about evolution, and for me, the thing with evolution is, okay, so let's say, 1 million years ago, we started to evolve from apes as you see them now. Firstly, why are they still apes?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah,
Because they wouldn't exist anymore
No.
under that.
because we were
Under
taken
that,
over.
and and that genetical makeup,
Yeah,
because we would be
yeah.
us instead. The other thing, why are we the only species that's evolved to this rate? You know, you don't
Dogs.
you don't see dogs and cats with mobile phones, do you?
No,
Building
no.
roads and infrastructure.
No,
and,
but what you do see-
you know, and they don't evolve at all. It's literally just so. How was that
But-
the only creature or mammal or whatever?
But it isn't, is it?
But it
because
isn't.
in the caves in Lalibela and the caves around, like on the previous podcast we did, when we spoke about the connections between aliens and potential religion, we spoke about hieroglyphics on walls where you go to Egypt, for instance. So you have a cat's head. Look at the Sphinx. You know, you have a cat's head on a body of a dog. You have the elephant men. You have the. Do you know what I'm saying? Don't you?
Yeah,
I'm trying to, you know,
you have all
have
the-
they experimented?
Yeah, there were experiments in the past.
Just look at Hercules.
Yeah, and all the like the Cyclops and all that stuff. They were real.
I'm not saying Hercules is real, but
No.
I'm just saying as an example.
They were all real. All these minotaurs, like bodies. They were all
Minotaur,
They're
that's-
all
yeah.
genetic creations. All right, created from the fallen ones, because Earth was a genetic base, like a superstore, and you go there and you get stuff, and then you go and terraform a planet with it,
Yeah.
like an Asda or something, like a.
I know all
Asda,
about
you know?
retail, my main
Retail
man.
stuff.
Yeah,
So you go there.
better less said.
But and in the past there were wars fought over the god power, which is genetics, and they wanted to create their kind of things, and the other beings wanted to create that, and then and the wars become.
Well, you know, I mean,
For that thing.
we'll touch on the sort of intergalactic wars that we spoke about last time. I'll hand it back over to James now.
Oh, yeah,
but
okay,
look,
okay.
to go through obviously
Some more
you know,
questions, yeah.
this stuff that's happened to you.
Yeah, so
Is,
of
huge.
course,
Yes,
this what happened in the direct aftermath? You touched on it. The group disbanded. What time period are we talking about?
I would say 90s, early 90s.
So within 5 years, the group had
Yeah.
disbanded, and
Yeah.
so, but obviously that hasn't been the end for
No,
you.
no.
You are still being contacted or have been
Yes.
contacted even now. So we're talking
Yeah.
about a 35-year journey from the moment you were taken from
Yeah.
Chew Valley Lake, sexually assaulted, and then the subsequent aftermath from there. What's that journey been like? What are the levels we're talking about? Is it different groups? Is it the same
I
group?
think there are different.
Are they coming back for you?
There are different factions
Right.
outside the universe, and I reckon I was put there or to scare them, because I actually scared these beings that abducted me, because
Yeah.
I recognised one of them, and I don't know how I recognised one of them, and they were frightened. And Oriana, that's
Yeah.
it. Then they dropped me out of my body into my body, and I was so bad I had physical bruising all the way down my side.
You say dropped you out of your body into your body. So what we're dealing with here is like that soul state. that we were
Yeah.
talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just
And-
so I'm following. Yeah.
And they showed, when I was there, they showed me around their operations, what they were doing, and they were bowing to me. And it was weird, and I still can't handle it. I live in two worlds.
Mm.
You know, once you're abducted, reality isn't the same anymore.
Mm.
It's not the nice, pretty world you live in. There's a different things, and it's.
Do you leave Earth, Michael? Really?
I went to a place where there's like a crimson doorway opened up.
Right.
And I went in there, and I was with people that I recognised.
This is on the craft.
This is in the abductions, not on the craft. This is during the abductions. I had different factions have been taking me.
So you're going to different locations.
This is different locations.
Yeah,
I
okay,
met
yeah.
people that knew me. I felt comfortable with them. I was making them laugh, and it felt like a family sort of thing.
So you've been accepted.
Yeah, but that was different to the other abductions, the first ones, with the V-shaped craft. These beings are not good.
No, but that's what's frightening, because as you mentioned earlier, the hive effect.
Yeah,
Was it the hive effect we mentioned? So
hive. Yeah, it's
talking
real.
about-
I found out it was real.
well, the military technically, you say, are closely connected with. What we're saying is, our military could be closely connected to the bad aliens,
Yes, they are. They're not closely. They're in with them.
in bed with them. Yeah.
Yeah, and you find that they are them. There's reincarnates of them that grew up in human form, and they are together. So that's why I don't trust anything that comes from the military in the UFO arena. I don't trust anything.
Does that include NASA,
Yeah,
Michael? Yeah.
none of it. None of it.
You're the same with NASA, aren't you?
I'm very skeptical of NASA as well, but that you can trace that back to me not believing in the moon landings.
Yeah.
See,
So
whereas
if they're
I
willing
do
to lie
believe,
about
I
that, if
think
they
we
can
did.
lie about that, what else are they lying
Yes,
about?
and you got to imagine in those times it was called the space race.
Of course.
As you want to win a race, what do?
Cheat.
Cheat.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
the first landing was fake,
yeah,
but they did go to the moon afterwards
Yeah, I
Because-
believe they went.
because they had to win.
Here's the question: what if they never been back until 2 or 3 years down the road when the Orion project takes off, that we all know about in conjunction with SpaceX, etc.? But the question is this: I believe, back to the nature at hand, NASA. What we're trying to say is here: if NASA told us that they'd found life on a moon of Jupiter, we'd all be expected to go, "Oh, great, that's great." You know, got a picture of it.
But no.
know?
But if NASA says jump, then people say how high.
That's what I'm saying.
Because
yeah,
I
yeah.
know when I was younger, I believed what NASA said, and it becomes a sort of control. If NASA says there's aliens, then NASA's right. If NASA
Probably
says
still
there
stands true today. For,
there ain't.
yeah.
for a lot of people, yeah.
It's a lot of programming. You become programmed to believe what NASA says. But once you've been through what I've been through, then
see through the
you see
noise.
through all of it.
Yeah.
And you become tuned. Your frequencies are tuned to different things.
Yeah.
So I know what's what, and I know that these aliens are connected with NASA and stuff like that. All the lines,
Yeah, of
the
course.
government lines, everything, they're all connected.
How regularly do you think that you are being contacted by extraterrestrials?
Well, it was since the first abduction, it was every night. And now they begin to get worse. I was used to it. But some of them, some other thing is interfering with me. And that's not nice. It's not been nice.
What do you mean by interfering? Just in your life, or interfering mentally?
It's in sleep. I've been having a lot of sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
I felt like things had been going into me when I was asleep, laying on my side, like energy was going into me. And then you take, and they've taken stuff out of me. But I believe this is government and aliens doing it, not alien. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, you're talking the hive alien.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is-
I'm with you. I mean, look, I mean, what we have to decipher again, though, whether this is just there's three possibilities. One, you were taken, and that what you're now experiencing is terrifying dreams due to trauma of being taken. That's one. 2, exactly as you're saying, or 3, they're just terrifying dreams. And I think we have to look at all 3. And I think any self-respecting interview or anything would ask that question. You know, could it just be a bad dream?
The thing for me is
I'm not,
obviously,
you know, saying that
the first abduction was not during sleep.
Exactly.
That's where they get you now.
Yeah.
Maybe they've decided that's a weakness of yours is when you're asleep, or that's the only time they can get you. But the first time wasn't. So we have to eliminate that.
I had one of the first bad experiences when I couldn't sleep. So the doctor gave me zopiclone and amitriptyline.
Yep. Zopiclone. Yeah, that is a opioid.
That yeah. And I had the worst dreams ever.
Yeah.
But then I was really upset by these dreams. But then I looked up on Google the effects, and other people have been having weird dreams. So I just put it down to that.
Yeah.
But I've been having things like I told you when the hole opened up.
Yeah, tell us about the vortex.
The vortex, and I could see all the way through it like it was a tunnel.
So for the viewers,
so you were dimensional.
So you were asleep. You woke up. If you take it away from there, then really,
yeah, I went to the toilet, come back into bed again. Woke up, went to the toilet again, and on the third trip, I opened the door and I seen the vortex in the wall. I looked down. There's beings there. One of them grabbed my throat, and I was normally I'd react to it, but I was like frozen, as if they did something to me.
Yeah, like paralysis.
Paralysis, yeah. And it's like they were waiting for me to do it, and that was really spooky. And I've had other dreams where I was in a dimension. It was black and white, but it was in my room.
Yeah. Well, of course, it's another dimension if it's black or white. Yeah, absolutely. It's terrifying.
It was terrifying. I mean, I've been abducted like loads of times in the past, but this was different. And I'm sure there's a government connection to these because they weren't like the other ones.
Would you think the government are trying to get in contact with you to potentially silence you for speaking to people like us? Because what we do on our platform is speak to intriguing and interesting people from around the world and then put it out to the masses. Do you think the government are trying to silence you into submission?
I think it's something to do with the crop circle messages.
Yeah.
I've done on the crop circle because obviously the government knows about it.
Yeah. Would you say a government of a new world order origin, if you see what I'm saying, or
just
a
the
national government of UK?
Just all the world government. Like I said, the message was about a grand deception that's going to be played on us, a fake alien invasion.
Hieroglyphic. What's it? Yeah, I've seen it. Wasn't it in Cuba? The Americans, the declassified files allegedly state that the Americans were going to show an image of the Virgin Mary.
Yeah, using Project Blue Beam.
Blue Book.
No, Blue Beam.
Blue Beam. Okay, yeah. I've heard of this. Yeah.
But like I said, everybody's in the perfect position to do that, and people in the UFO arena who are connected with the governments are in a perfect position to spread shit, basically. Lies and deception. That's what everything's all about. That's what is all about. I was going to say, it's all connected to the hive.
So this has been going on for 35 years, Mike.
Yeah.
How do you think it's had a detrimental negative effect on your life from then till now?
Yes.
Do you think that's what, you speak a lot to us about negative energy and negative individuals and negative people that are among us.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's what this is all about? They're trying to take, positive energy from you.
Yeah.
You've just been
drain me.
How has it affected your life?
I lost my marriage because of it. And it has had a negative effect. I gained weight through drinking because of depression, and just general negative people. There is positive and negative. It's not good or bad. It's the same sort of thing, but it's positive and negative. There's been a battle been going on for ages outside the planet and inside. I mean, I was bullied a lot when I was younger. Okay, And I got hold of one of the bullies when I was older. I said, "Why did you bully me?" He said, "Because you were different."
Yeah.
And they knew I was different, and I didn't know why.
Bullies are usually insecure people themselves that are not happy with their life, and they try to see someone who they perceive to be maybe weaker. That's a bully. No one likes a bully.
Yeah, but these bullies feed off of fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because and there are negative energies around these bullies, because these bullies are negative energy anyway, and the energies around the bullies feed off of the fear of the bully,
Yeah.
me, or
Yeah.
any, or like, especially when you're a child, you give off so much fear when you're a kid. I remember,
Yeah.
I was just to crap myself over horror films when I was
Yeah,
younger.
absolutely.
But bullying brought out the worst fear in me.
There's anxiety as well, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, it's the reptilians call the energy loosh, which is a weird name, but that's what it was. It's all about energy. It's all about feeding.
So loosh.
Loosh, yeah.
And how are we spelling that? Is it like
Loosh.
loosh.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So obviously loosh is how they would depict that. Now obviously in terms of your mental health, mental well-being, you know, what you've told us here tonight, you know, would test the most resolute of human minds to its limit and capacity.
Yeah.
I have to give you huge credit for coming out here and talking to us about it. I'm just going to throw it back over to James to ask if there's anything else that you really want to ask about at all, and then we'll just like round it up and talk about what's coming, what's happening in the world.
Yeah, no, I've got to say, Michael, pleasure to meet you again. Couldn't wait. Soon as I came on board with TTM, couldn't wait to because I knew that you were going to come back, and I'm delighted. Fascinating stuff. I mean, we could sit here for 3 hours and talk. We really could.
We are heading into bad days.
Absolutely. We've seen it around us this week with the mass panic, the petrol.
Same with the COVID panic.
With the COVID, you know, like
we even had a toilet roll panic at one point.
We did, negative energies, like you speak about, Michael. It's all about fear. That's what it is.
And different levels of bullying.
Absolutely. I think, look, in terms of the fuel, for instance, just on the way to this podcast, when I kind of pick you up this evening, I was on the limit, and I managed to squeeze in the last available spot at the petrol station to get the fuel to get this interview on. And my God, was it worth it? In terms of COVID-19, you're right. We spoke about last time. It was just at the beginning of COVID, I believe, the first podcast, which is available on all TTM platforms if you want to go and watch that one. We spoke about, obviously, control, and we spoke about elements of control to us, the minions of the world. I see us really normal humans, working class humans, as pretty much slaves to the elite. Yes. What I'm trying to say is, do you think that obviously with the New York Times release that they have, the Tic Tac UFO, there are now an admission from the US government saying we have outer world vehicles, an admission.
Yes, and the Tic Tac UFO is the US government.
Yeah. And you think they own it and they're spreading this, let's say, false, fake news.
Yeah. And maybe the pilots don't know about that, but the Tic Tac UFO is
more drone.
More drone. It's more
a product of the hive.
Yes, it's more, and we're living in a matrix, a hive matrix, which is fed off of negative fear.
Project Fear, we've heard before, haven't we?
Yeah, it feeds off of fear. Everywhere you go, anybody that creates massive scenarios is part of the hive, part of the feeding process, and we are victims. And I like the word victims, but we are victims of bullies.
We're pawns in the game, aren't we?
Yes,
we're pawns in the game.
Yeah,
and your millionaires would be your bishops. Yeah. You're, if you imagine us on a chessboard, we would be the pawns. Although I do fancy myself as a bit of a castle at times.
Yeah.
The rook.
Yeah, but we are. And I never believed in the Matrix, but I have come round to thinking, we are part of it.
Here's one for you. Wonderful image, which I'll include on the YouTube video. Our podcast producer, Harry's thinking, oh my God, what's he going to come out with now? There was a picture taken of the cosmic web. The cosmic web, alongside the picture of an electromagnetic image of the human brain. identical.
Yeah.
I've always had this thing in my mind is, are we so inferior in this universe that we could just be a mess of tiny little mites in the corner of a thing somewhere that could be taken out at any minute? So how we look at ants, how we look at tiny dust mites, and they're in their own bubble, they're in their own world, that crack in the wall, that is their solar system, you know? It's the Fermi paradox, which I spoke about before. Do you think, for those that don't know what the Fermi paradox is, there's an island called North Sentinel Island, which is in the Indian Ocean, and there's a tribe that's been on there for thousands and thousands of years, and they are to be left untouched. It's illegal, according to international law, for any, let's say, cultured human being to visit them, because these guys and ladies are not ready to join the society of Earth civilization. Now, here's where the Fermi and the paradox come into it. Are we on Earth not ready to join the intergalactic society? And that, for me, is another string to the bow of uncertainty. It's another question to be asked. For instance, are the Hive preparing us to join the intergalactic society?
I think it's a countdown to disclosure, but the disclosure will not be a good one.
Yeah, the disclosure was a disclosed disgrace. When they brought that out, they told us nothing.
No, and you got to be aware that the people who so-called present themselves as aliens could not be real aliens. They could be genetic hybrids masquerading as aliens. Like you said, when on board that craft with all the babies, that's a race, another race of hybrids that can be portrayed as aliens by the Hive or by any other negative things.
I think it's this. I think Roswell was the penny drop moment. We know that allegedly, again I have to say allegedly, the craft that crashed in Roswell, New Mexico, did have beings on board. A couple of them died. One of them survived, albeit very, very badly injured. The fact that you're saying that all we see usually is these hybrids, the penny dropped in Roswell potentially and allegedly, where the US Army managed to get hold of a live, actual alien. And what happened from there was where this deal was struck to maybe protect the life of that remaining alien.
The deal was struck that if the...
Well, they must have been here anyway to crash.
They've been here.
Yeah.
They travel time. They could be here. They could exist now and go back in the past and create stuff in the past that will have an effect in the future. Like
the Golden Eagle. On the last podcast, we said about the Golden Eagle. Do you ever find that through every dominant civilization of their time, their badge is always an eagle? Look at the Roman Empire. Yeah. It was an eagle.
Napoleon.
Look at even the Nazis the evil that they did, but look what they did. They had the eagle, and just look at the United States of America.
Eagle and Napoleon
have an eagle. That's quite crazy. And John, I'm not here saying that America are evil. I actually think far from it. I have a lot of respect, time, and admiration for America. They're our closest ally, and for good reason too. But what I will say is that every dominant power in the world seems to have
a symbol. And
exactly,
that's the eagle. And it's just funny how it had to be an eagle. As the eagle's supposed to be something for freedom or whatever, but it's been used as a negative thing, not for freedom, but for overtaking people. And
like the American dollar bill. You know, we've all had the discussions about the American dollar bill with first of all, it's a pyramid.
The pyramid, and the all-seeing eye.
And the all-seeing eye.
Yeah, the Illuminati thing.
So from here, obviously, you know, we're coming to the end of the podcast. This podcast, obviously, with Michael, is coming to an end. We're available on YouTube. We're available on Spotify, on the usual podcasting outlets. Also online at www.thinktwicemedias.com. Why do I drop that, James? I dropped that email because if you want to appear on this show to talk about aliens, to talk about anything on your mind which is of interest to normal people that flick on the mobile phones and want to be involved and have a voice in usual current world affairs, then that's the place to go.
That's right. Now, just finally like to say thank you, Michael, for giving up your time and sharing your story with us. You know,
it's cool.
I keep saying fascinating stuff, James.
It's a lot to take in.
It's a lot to take
Yeah.
in. Probably as it was the last time. There's more we can talk to you about.
Yes,
There is more.
I've got a lot more information.
We understand you're going to be hoping to put your memoirs down into a book
Yeah,
as well,
crop
which
circle.
which is great, which we look forward to as well.
Really read that well. Yeah.
And obviously we'll be looking to hopefully when that's all come together, get you on to help you promote that as well.
Yeah.
Absolute pleasure, Michael. James,
pleasure being here.
No, thank you very much indeed, Michael. Again, everybody knows where to find TTM Dark. I would also like to say thanks to our podcast and visual engineer Harry Williams tonight. He is available on Instagram at haswilliams1. His links will be underneath in the descriptions of this video. I am available myself, HarrisonJ87 on Twitter, and James
at the Skimpman13.
Again, if you can't understand that, which I didn't at first, it'll be in the description below. That's all from me.
And that's all from me.
And we'll be seeing you again very, very soon.